here for the actual conversation. We have a great card coming up this weekend. It is Fight Night 156. It's the ESPN Plus 14 card. Headliner Shavchenko versus Liz Carmouche. All right, we're going to start it off. We're doing main card at the beginning. We had Enrique Barzola and Bobby Moffitt. Dude, honestly, before we start with it, I was telling you a little bit prior to this, I love this matchup. I think it's a great matchup, and I honestly believe this is going to be our fight of the night contention fight right here. I love both these guys' style. They're both hard noses. They go after it, and I mean, Enrique can take a hit, man.
Yeah.
Tough. His last bout, he was in a burner, I thought. Give me a little experience. Tell me who you got in this fight, and then we'll go from there.
Well, a lot of these are pretty closely competitive. The odds makers got Enrique Barzola, the slight favorite, over Bobby the Wolfman Moffitt. Wolfman Moffitt, great nickname.
Man.
And he seems like a really likable dude, but unfortunately, I do agree with the odds makers. I mean, we'll see how it plays out on Fight Night. But I like what you said, because we were talking about this matchup, and I completely agree with you. It's a great action fight. But more importantly, the card placement. I'm a real big, as far as trumpeting to get 145 or 155ers. Joe Silva used to really like that to start off main cards, and that main card slot is really crucial, whether it's a pay-per-view or a TV card. It's right in the middle. It's going to pick you up. You kind of want that balance. You want the power like a middleweight like yourself brings, but you also kind of want that pace. And I think these guys kind of fit that bill if that's what you like.
Complete excitement the entire time. That's going to start off the main card, because you don't want to tune into the main card and you're just sitting there and watching two people just relax.
Yeah.
You want to see people go.
Yep.
And Bobby Moffitt's in the process of making a name for himself. And Enrique, he's Hispanic, bro. He's fighting there, and this is in Argentina, right?
It's in Uruguay. My geography's not that great, but I know Barzola's Peruvian, so I don't know how far he'll be fighting from home. But yeah, he's just right in
South America. We're there. He's fighting for the first time in front of close to his home, and this is the thing. It's a South America card, so you're gonna have a very Hispanic predominant fan base, and it's gonna get loud. Hispanics are loud. You come over to my house for a little cafe with my family, it sounds like they're screaming, but they're not. They're just having a regular conversation. These people, in South America, they're going to be up. They're going to be screaming. They're going to get wild. And I do like Bobby Moffitt. I think he has great, well-rounded skills. His striking's good. His grappling's good. But then it comes down to durability, because I think Enrique is going to sit there and kind of just, he doesn't care if he gets hit. He's trying to go. And I think it's going to tire Bobby out, where Enrique is going to be naturally okay with that climate, that altitude, that environment. He's not going to really have to travel as much. So like you said, I got Enrique in there. That is my pick on that as well.
Yeah, man, I agree. I think that's going to be Enrique's game plan, as far as the striking goes. But I'm really interested to see how the grappling goes as well, because Barzola, like you said, he was in a barnstorm his last fight, and some people, were I don't know about criticizing, or more so questioning that, going into that match, and thought he was going to use his takedowns more. He was training doing some cross training at American Top Team, and he looked like he was trying to integrate that in his game, and he kind of went away from it. So I'll be curious if he goes back at it with Moffitt, because Moffitt, I don't know how accoladed he was a wrestler, but he did wrestle collegiately, and he is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, so he really likes to work well from that front headlock. So if a guy good from the front headlock, I don't know if Barzola's going to be shooting on him, so I think it's going to be like how you predicted, Julian. He's going to want to keep it on the feet.
He's going to want to. That's the way I see it playing out. Is I feel is that Bobby Moffitt's going to come out there and throw a couple punches, and he's going to realize that he can land what he wants. I think his striking is decent to where he knows he can land what he wants, but he needs to go in for that takedown and get him down and put him against the corner of the cage and just kind of control the top game posture. But Enrique, what he wants to do, like I said, is going to have to keep it standing, because going on the ground with a black belt, and you do have a questionable ground where you're doing good, but going against a black belt is very difficult.
Yeah, but Barzola, if we're gonna be stereotyping the Hispanics, they also got some crazy cardio as well. He's one of those guys you He's really tough to outwork. I think he's doing work in AKA in this camp, but I mean, the guy naturally trains at elevation, I think, in Peru.
Yeah.
And so he's got good get-up ability. So as long as I guess he's not giving him the back there, he should be okay. And like you said, something that we don't think about, but again, the fighter perspective here, I'm sure you guys think about that, the judges as well, and the crowd, how that affects the scorecards in a close round. What do you think those judges are going to be leaning to if they're not so sure of the exchanges? They might lean on that crowd, right?
Yeah, they're going to sit there and listen. I hope not, but it's very difficult. The rule of thumb, never leave it to the judges. You do not want three people deciding your fate. It sometimes doesn't go in your favor. Sometimes it goes in your favor. But again, it's better to end the fight. I don't see this fight really being ended. I see it being a straight, perfect matchup to start off this card. Bobby Moffitt, Enrique Barzola, and I got Enrique as well.
We're on the same side, man.
All right, our next matchup is going to be in the middleweight division. We're going to have a brand new guy. He's 5-0, undefeated. His name is Rodolfo Vida, and he's going against Oscar Piroshka. We were talking a little bit this behind the camera. In my view, Piroshka is a very good striker. We fought on the same card in July 6th, 2018. It was the International Fight Week, and I'm in back watching him, and I'm telling you, this guy he's unreal. Like, he's sitting there doing headstands, not handstands. He's standing on his head like as if he were a break dancer. He puts his hand down and rolls his face out, and he's throwing all these weird kicks and just these flexibilities. Like, the guy is limber. The guy can move. The guy is able to fold his body into positions where I'm kind of sitting there like, whoa, what do you do on the side? Are you like a dancer, or you a tumbler? What are you doing?
Yeah.
So when I look at him, I'm like, oh, the guy is physically, like, he looks the part. He is an athlete, but when it comes into the octagon, I just don't see him correlating over. He hasn't had an impressive showing recently. I mean, the only fight that I was impressed with was that overhand right with his superpower against Tim Williams. But he just doesn't have a consistent showing of skill to me to where I think that he's going to be able to take Rodolfo, who is a Brazilian black belt, who is very, very strong, powerful, and dominant on the ground.
Yeah.
He has good takedowns. He's decent striking, but when he grabs a hold of you, he's taking you down. In my point of view, I got Rodolfo in this one.
Yeah, I'm with you too. I always get nervous when you see the debutant and the guy with lesser overall experience, even UFC experience, being favored, just coming in, because making that debut, even in a different country. He's Brazilian. He's not too far away, but he's been camping actually in Florida with a guy we'll be talking about later, Mike Perry, and as well as Jacare Souza over there, that Fusion X gym. So he's training MMA based Adolfo Vieira, and like we were talking about too, Piechota, I don't know how to say his last name, I apologize, Polish gentleman. He shows those like glimpses where you're like, whether it's the dexterity from like throwing a spin kick or the way maybe he takes it back, and you'll see that limberness, and it's so crazy your division because it's such a wide gamut from frames to athleticisms to styles. Like it's such a wild card, and this guy's one of those interesting ones, right? But not all black belts. I say my breakdowns. I'm sure you can attest. Not all black belts are created equal. That's no disrespect.
Okay? Right.
That's
it's very true.
It's true.
You put a black belt on his back, he turns right into a white belt real quick.
Right, and don't get me wrong. Piechota's a black belt, and he got a black belt from someone I had the privilege of training under before, Robert Drysdale. Who's no slouch, but at the same time, like you said, Vieira, he's not just a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion, and not just that's something I look for because I'm a big Nogi guy.
Oh, yeah.
But when you see those ADCC accolades, multiple time winner, and stuff like that, and for the layman's, a difference between maybe if you see an ADCC accolade compared to an IBJJF, one is essentially with the gi, and one is essentially without. And I say that because a lot of times we see these guys that even the world champion Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts. Maybe it's their game, whether they're a guard guy, they're dependent on certain grips. Maybe for whatever reason, it just doesn't translate as well.
Yeah.
And Vieira's game, when you watch him grapple, I think it's a style that translates really well to MMA.
Yeah, I agree on that. And look, when I watched this film and I watched him grab a hold of people, it was kind of similar to like how would you say it would be a Habib?
Yeah,
Habib grabs a hold of you, he's grabbing you and he's not letting you go. The same thing as Rodolfo. When he grabs a hold of his opponent, he's able to control them, and it looks actually, it's kind of beautiful to watch him just transition into the next move to get his submission. He does have a TKO on his belt. I couldn't find that one, but it was just, it's beautiful. And when you watch him go, I'm very, very interested to see how it goes. So I do see it going. He's gonna Rodolfo's objective is go in there, close the distance, put Oscar's back against the cage, take him down, and continue to just put transition to get the final move, which I think would be a rear naked choke.
I agree too. And at the end of the day, I think that's why I'm picking him as well, because if you're gonna pick a guy to beat Piechota, you got to be able to compete with him in the grappling. We talked about his own grappling accolades, but you mentioned not only does he have a right hand that you mentioned, but even in his regional scene, Piechota has a really nice left hook and check left hook.
Yeah. So
I think being a defensive guy that's going to be pressuring him, that might be the shot to watch for from him. But at the same time, I mean, you're going to want a guy that's going to, if I'm cornering or coaching a fighter against a guy like Piechota, I want to pressure this guy and take that fight out of him, like we saw with Mearshart. And funny thing is, that fight was over a year ago. I mean, you kind of referenced that. So Vieira, even though he's less experienced, he's actually the more active guy heading into this. So
and mentally there. So we got there Rodolfo over Piechota. And our next one we have in the light heavyweight division. This is a big card that was actually supposed to happen on the Covington card.
Yeah.
But it got canceled due to certain reasons that I do not know.
Same here.
But we have it here, and it's Ilir Latifi versus Volkan Ozdemir. Ilir is coming off a loss against Corey Anderson. Volkan's coming off a loss against Anthony Smith. They're both meeting up here. They're both hungry to get the win. Matchup-wise, stylistic-wise, it's a grappler versus striker. Who do you got in this one?
This one's tough, man. I forgot, third time's the charm, because I think it was technically scheduled 3 times, although one of them didn't get off the ground. Again, I'm sorry, folks. It's beyond me as to how. But as I'm watching the footage, I'm remembering my take on the other ones. I remember that one of them got so close to happening, I think got pulled to fight week, so I already did my study for it. And I don't feel any better, making a pick out of this fight. Part of me feels like I'm going to be picking Ozdemir here, because it's there's no way this guy can lose 3 in a row. And that's usually not how I do my analysis. Because again, MMA is not a fair world. Just because it's unfair, this guy maybe Ozdemir should have had a decision go his way, and now he's still a young prospect, but he's got 3 losses. He's got to get back on track, right? Unfortunately, that's not how MMA works. It's not very fair like that. That being said, I do think he gets back on track here. Although one thing that's screaming out to me when I was watching this, because everyone's like, oh, Ozdemir got robbed. And even though I did score it for him against that Dominic Reyes fight, I don't know how fresh that one is in your memory. Reyes was quietly doing something, and commentary bench started picking up on it. He was just doing a lot of body work.
Yeah.
And it looked like it bothered Ozdemir for a certain part. Got him to back up in the 3rd round, and Latifi, man, he'll switch up to southpaw, and he'll just unleash that mean body kick. And so I part of me sees that, but at the same time, Latifi also slows down more so than Ozdemir toward the 3rd. So I feel like if Ozdemir just clears that 1st round, he should be able to outpace Latifi for a decision. So that's how I kind of see this fight. At least that's how I'm going to pick it. I don't know.
That's a good analysis, a good breakdown. So I'm pretty excited, because I love when we agree, but I love when we disagree, because now it comes to actual breakdown and look at. So you're right. I think Ilir Latifi does have cardio issues. When I saw him against Corey Anderson, he wasn't able to close that distance. He started getting tired and wither away in the later rounds. But again, I saw the same thing happen to Ozdemir when he fought Smith.
Yeah.
He was tiring out. And later, again, that was championship rounds. I think they were in. Wasn't it the 5th?
They were headed to it. But it was a high paced 3 rounds though, and he was already getting tired early. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So he does have that. This is in South America, so the elevation is a little bit higher than normal. So it could affect both of these guys. But this is how I look at it. All right. Now, Ozdemir looks great when he goes against people that don't want to take him down. And if you watch him when he stands up with them, they have a compatible matchup, like you said, with Dominic Reyes. They looked good. You can argue either way if they won or who won this, that, and the other. If you watch him when he fought Anthony Smith, he was putting combinations together. He was winning that fight. He was putting stuff together and putting Smith into into a bad place. But when he got taken to the ground, it was over. When he got taken to the ground, it was over. And when you watched him, Ozdemir against, this is DC again, 2-time champ. We're talking about someone different, shorter guy, able to close the distance, was able to lift him up, crotch lift, take him down. When he got him on the ground, it was over.
Yeah.
This is the same exact thing, the same exact style I see. I see Ilir Latifi's a solid striker, or he's a solid defensive striker, but he's also a solid wrestler.
Yeah.
And he's training with some of the toughest 205-pounders here. I mean, he trained with Gustafsson. You know, who better to have a matchup lengthwise and everything. I feel like Ilir Latifi's going in there. He's going to be able to close the distance fast enough, get his hands on Ozdemir and be able to lift him up, take him down, and get on top. When you're on top of somebody, it doesn't matter your cardio. The person on top is going to be more relaxed than the person on the bottom, especially Ozdemir. I feel like it's going to be finished in early fight, and I have Ilir Latifi.
Yeah, man, that's a great point there, especially with the training. You know, he also did cross-training and finished his camp in American top teams. There's great bodies from middleweight to heavyweight, and in between for him to work with. Whereas, so he's going to be coming from South Florida, whereas Ozdemir was trained in South Florida before. I think he stayed up in Europe, but he had his little training partners like Overing for this whole camp, which is great, especially, maybe it's great, maybe it's not, because, you see those old footage of Overing just body shotting his training partners and double him over like it's a game he likes to play. So maybe that's good if you're trying to avoid body shots. Maybe that's bad. We'll see. But no, that's a great point. But I still feel like it kind of falls under that gas tank thing for me, because I picked, for the exact same reasons you said, Latifi to not just win, but win by decision, even though he has had a suspect gas tank when he fought Tyson Pedro. Yeah. Because I feel like the experience and the wrestling was just at a complete different level. And in that fight, he actually showed to hold position a little more. But aside from that fight, Latifi can get takedowns, and I think he can get takedowns here. I don't disagree with anything of that. But I feel like he doesn't do enough consistent position holding, riding, and chaining. And when he does get submissions, it's usually opportunistic. He either rocks the guy, or the guy is rocking, shooting in, and he just kind of snatches up like one of those, wrestler style, puts the belly into the guillotine. Yeah. And he can hit stuff like that, but like I don't know if it's like consistent enough to where like if he. So I think he can take Ozdemir down, but then when I see Ozdemir taken down, and early on against Addison, that pressure, and those matchups will always be bad for him if you get like a high level guy like a Cormier. Like those matchups, I think you're right, are always going to be bad for him. But I just feel like he has enough defensive wrestling. Like I see he always goes to the cage, fights grips, tripods up to stand, reaches for the overhook, keeps a wrist control. He's always checking off the boxes to where like, unless you're a really good back taker, I think it's gonna be hard to tax, or a really good grappler, I think it's gonna be hard to tax this guy. So I have a feeling like Latifi could be doing all those things you said, but then if he doesn't put him away, then maybe he starts to lose rounds. Either way, I don't feel confident about my pick here, but that's why I feel so sketchy about it.
It's a good point. It's a good point. I do like it. I do like looking at it. It opens my eyes to two different styles, which is amazing. So you got
to pick, man.
Ozdemir, I got Latifi. Yeah. We'll find out this weekend. Cheers on that for sure.
That's a good one.
I like that. All right, and then our next matchup is going to be, this is lightweight, right? Humberto's a 55-pounder.
I think it's lightweight or featherweight. Featherweight, I think. Featherweight, yeah.
We have a new fighter coming in. His name is Luis Eduardo, 11-0. The guy is very impressive. Has 9 finishes and 2 decisions, which is, that's amazing. Again, it's on the lower level. Just lets you know, though, that if he's finishing these guys here, he belongs in the UFC. He has the fights that he has are not like soup cans. They're tough fights, and he's going out there finishing these guys. He got the call up. He's fighting Humberto
Bandane.
Humberto Bandane.
I gotta put the twang on there. Why not?
You gotta put that to like Antonio Banderas.
Yeah.
There we got it. There you go. This right here. Luis it's a tough matchup for him. Humberto is a game opponent. Any Hispanic's a game opponent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't win by just by going out there and dominating. You have to attack their heart.
It's like what Brad Pitt says in Fight Club about skinny guys, right?
Yeah.
The Hispanic guys fight to their burger.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. These guys, this could definitely be another fight of the night contention. Just like the main card starter. This right here, both these guys are game opponents.
Yeah.
Luis has actually, I think, has a great wrestling transition, grappling style that he goes into. When he grabs a hold of you, it looks like he has a systematic way of just going this way, going that way. And he's putting things together to constantly keep the pressure on, whereas Humberto is kind of just like a Wild West free ranger style fighter. He's throwing punches, you take it to the ground. He's going to battle his way up to try to get to the more, combinations. Good takedown defense. This is a tough fight for me to call.
It is. It's definitely a winner of the sexiest names between Bandone and Luis Eduardo. He's got, he's not Brazilian, but he's got one of those Brazilian things where he's got that nickname, kind of the third name attached. It sounds almost Italian.
Yeah.
Which is not unheard of because again, a lot of Italian immigrants into certain places in South America, depending on where you are. I think Argentina, has some Italian in there.
Hardcore.
So this guy maybe has that 22, but I like what you said there because it's a tough matchup. Like Luis Eduardo, most of his, you look at him and you can tell, okay, this guy is a seasoned striker. Then I went and looked up his stats. Went, okay, he's got a Brazilian Taekwondo black belt, kickboxing black belt, which again, some places have ranking systems for kickboxing or Muay Thai. Brazilians rank Muay Thai with belts. So it may sound kind of odd or look odd on paper, but you gotta, when you're doing invisible math, you gotta say, okay, maybe that doesn't mean he's a K1 level kickboxer, but okay, this is at least clearly his thing. He's clearly practicing that. You watch him tape and it matches. But I like what you said because even though he's not a wrestler, he's only the purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu he's listed as. He doesn't seem lost in there. Like he seems like he knows has a good idea what he's doing defending against the cage. And when I did see him taken down in footage, like he didn't panic. Like you said, he had a process. He went right for submissions, and when those submissions failed, he used that to scramble back to his feet.
Correct.
You don't often see even debutantes, kind of the greener fighters, doing that. So we'll see. That's why I'm going to pick him against Bandone here because Bandone, he's fun. He came out and he iced Martin Bravo with that left kick, but he almost like a lot of these, and then I maybe I'll grade southpaws a little heavier because I'm a southpaw myself. But a lot of these southpaws, they almost get a little too in love and they start spamming. Yeah. From the power side, what's coming, and that's exactly what happened with him in his other two fights, and kind of saw him, get stuck. When the guy doesn't have process and his tricks aren't working, whether those tricks are on the ground or on the floor. At this level, we see all the time. You get stuck out there, and then next thing you know, you end up in a tough decision, and it's one of those proverbial learning experiences. So it's so hard to know where Humberto's going to come in at. I got to imagine he's going to come in better, but I'm still going to pick the newcomer here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the newcomer. It looks like he has to find his way, or he finds his finish. He finds a way to get the job done in any way, shape, or form. I do like his style, that his Taekwondo background, his fluidity and his striking, and he puts it together. He puts everything together. I do see them both throwing singular shots. So it's more like, I'm going to throw this power shot. I'm going to throw this one, or if you get it a combination, it's going to be a 1-2. You don't see them putting like traditional boxing style power and with 3 or 4 punches and try to end with a kick, which this could definitely alter it up since they're going to be in that open stance type fight. Luis is able to switch styles.
Yes, I was going to say he switches
his stance, so that could cause another problem for Humberto. Because again, it's tough to train for someone you don't know that can be able to strike effectively on both sides and who's agile, quick. It's going to be a high action-packed fight. If Luis Eduardo is able to finish Humberto, which is a tough deal, man. That guy can take a shin to the head and still continue, man.
Yeah,
tough guy. He's a tough guy. If he can do that, it's going to speak milestones for him in his debut. And it's an actual possibility. It's a tough matchup. Again, I will go with the newcomer Luis just as well as you. But a great matchup nonetheless. These are great matchups so far.
I was going to say we're both picking the two debutantes on the main card. Debuting in the UFC, much less on the main card. We're picking those guys. That tells you how kind of crazy these matchups are.
They are. So this is one thing that I have a bunch of friends that are from Uruguay, that are from South America.
Yeah.
They've came to train with us here in Vegas. They came to train with us when I lived in Kansas City. We had a fighter house, so we just always get people there. Man, I'm gonna tell you, there's a guy. His name is Fernando, and he is from Uruguay. He has over 50 fights. And you watch this guy, and I seen him go against some of the UFC guys. Mind you, this guy is 38 years old.
Oh.
Okay, I seen him go against some seasoned vets that fight in the UFC today that are, if I were to say their names, you'd be like, what? I watched him put these guys through a clinic. It's a different style, man. These guys train day in and day out over there in South America. That's all they ever know. And, here in America, we do have the luxury of training, but then we also have all these other pullers that pull us away, like, movie theaters, we have, McDonald's, we have just whatever party, nightclubs.
Distractions. For sure.
All these distractions. But out there, like, they don't have anything. They live in, I don't want to say the sticks, but they literally live in an environment to where you don't have all these luxuries, all these distractions. So you wake up, you go do your job, you go into training, and then you just do that. That's your lifestyle. You commit and you go 100% in. So that's why I'm going with these newcomers from South America, that they live the part, they're struggling, and they want it so much more. And they have the background to do it too. They do. If you look at the track record, that's how I see this, but it's different.
It's growing, man. It's growing more and more. They do these shows too. That's what makes it also hard to pick, because when we see them, not only they have the skills like you said, but they're going to get better each time. So
they're just elevating. All right, so now we're here with the co-main event. This is a big fight. It's a fan fight.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely a fan fight. It's definitely a great stylistic matchup. It's insanity. Whoever wins is gonna have a good post-fight interview. We have Vicente Luque, who is home, South America. He's Uruguay. Is he Uruguay? He's from South America.
Yeah, it's funny. I think he's like mixed with Brazilian and then some and half with some other country.
Yeah.
But then I think he was like technically born in Jersey too. So Luque's got roots everywhere, man.
He's
you
out there.
throw the dart, you'll hit it.
Yeah, there we go. A little salt and pepper, adding all these extra spices into his nationalities. We got it. And we have Mike Perry, Platinum Boy over here. I'm telling you, man, this guy is funny. He's hilarious. This entire fight week, he's just gonna elevate it. He's there. He's fought some of the greatest fighters out there. He's always going. He fought Paul Felder.
Yeah.
He fought. He's got a decision win over Paul Felder. That's impressive right there. He's fought Paul Felder. He fought Donald Cerrone in his last matchup. Vicente Luque, Mike Perry. How do you like this matchup? And explain to me what you see.
I think Brazilian Cowboy fought last matchup, right? Vicente?
No.
Charles Oliveira?
Was it? No, I thought it was Barberina. Vicente, Mike Perry fought Cowboy.
Oh, he did fight Cowboy. Yeah. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Vicente.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's the Cowboys that confuse me. The Brazilian and the Cowboy. These double nicknames, man.
We need a straw hat and a straw hat and a cowhide hat.
Yeah,
we need to know the difference. All right. But it is. I mean, Vicente's fought everyone too, man.
Both these guys. This is kind of a matchup I didn't expect, to be honest, because of. As fun as Mike Perry is, his kind of win-loss ratios, and a lot of that's with a lot of exciting fighters, right? That's why we love him. You don't know what you're going to kind of get. Whereas Luque's been on this quiet run, man. One of these guys where it's like I don't feel like he gets enough respect, but welterweight's so stacked, man. You got guys like Leon Edwards, with crazy runs too, and he's struggling to get notice. And Luque's one of those guys, man, super technical. This one is going to be the battle of the left hooks for me, I think Perry kind of spoke about he was training with Rodolfo Vieira for this camp. So as far as the jiu-jitsu looks, he's going to get that, for Rodolfo, because I think, Luque is going to have the ground advantage here. But, like we talking about Piachota's left hook, I wonder if he's going to be, implementing that in the training room, because I think that punch will also, it's a good punch for Perry, but will also, keep him live here with Luque. But Luque, man, he's so good at walking people in his left hooks. Like, watch that Chad Lepre's knockout, I believe.
Yeah.
He just times it so well that I think Luque is going to have not just the advantage at distance, but also within boxing range. As dangerous as Mike Perry is there, I'm still going to give that to Luque. But here's where I think Mike Perry is going to have his most success. You can tell me if you agree or disagree. I think it's going to be in the clinch. Even though that'll be dangerous for the sense that, clinch can lead to the ground, and Luque has an advantage on the ground. But if you look at Mike Perry in the clinch, man, he's really deceptive there. He's a deceptive grappler, too, training with guys like Jacare, Rodolfo Vieira. They're going to check him. But you look at him, the way he knees and strikes out of the clinch, that's where he's getting a lot of his finish, even back in the regional scene. He's fought some tough dudes there in that Florida scene too that people might not be aware of here, but he really brutalizes guys with those knees to the body, knees to the head, and then off the break. We saw that when he fought Illenberger. So I think that's where anytime they go here, if you've got money on Luque, for example, you're going to be sweating. Anytime they get in close. But I'm tipping my hand. I'm going Luque here.
Luque, yeah. Look, man. If we picked based upon friendships, if we picked based upon who we love, I love Mike Perry. I think he's a great dude. He's awesome. I've had many conversations. I'll tell you a story. When I first fought in the UFC, I showed up into the check-in room where I was getting my bag, my gear and everything, getting sized up. And Mike Perry walks in. This is, right after he's on his roll. He's about to fight. He's about to fight. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. Well, he's going another Uruguayan. What's his name? The other one?
Ponzinibbio.
Ponzinibbio. Thank you. So he was about to fight Ponzinibbio, and Mike Perry walks into the check-in room. He looks over at me. Again, I'm green. I just showed up to the UFC. Not a lot of people know my name or anything. And he grabbed me by the shoulder and goes, "Yeah, man, you're the dude that got that knockout." And he leaned back and threw his leg up in the middle of this, wearing his jeans. We're in Winnipeg. It's cold. He's got his puffy jacket. He's throwing his kick, and he's sitting there. And he fanned out with me, and it was the coolest moment I've ever had right there. I love Mike Perry, and I think
awesome.
I've watched him grow from that fight until now, and his hands have gotten better. His wrestling has gotten better. His just approach has gotten better. And again, I agree with you. Mike Perry's best asset when it comes to this fight is in that clinch area. He is well home. He can produce more power than I think Vicente. Yes, when it goes to takedown, I think he is going to have a little bit more of a better, well-rounded defense than he did when he fought Cerrone. I think he went in there and just the name that he was fighting, the crowd, everything, he just made a decision that cost him. And I see him doing very, very well. I don't see either one getting finished. Mike Perry can take a punch. As we see when Vicente fought Bob Arena, he was taking some brutal damage.
Yeah.
He was taking brutal damage, but he's able to weather the storm. He's able to continue to go push forward. He is definitely a sleeper most people don't know about because he is in a division that is just everyone knows the high names.
Yeah.
You have to make a name for yourself. Again, like Colby Covington, he had to create this gimmick of this hatred. Everybody hates him, but he's now stands out amongst the rest. Vicente won't do anything like that, which is okay. But it's a tough matchup for him. I see a lot of strikes being thrown. I see a lot of pressure on both sides. I see just two trucks colliding. And it's going to come down to those takedowns. It's going to come down to who is going to be able to be on top whenever it hits the ground, who's going to make those transitions. Vicente has a great striking coach, Henry Hoof, who sticks to fundamental striking, the kicks, and I think he's going to add on kicks, which could potentially add a little bit more damaging to Mike Perry. It's the first time he actually faced somebody that's going to add a lot of kicks to it. It could overwhelm. But Mike Perry's deal, like you said, you have to close the distance. You have to get the clinch game. You want to put Vicente against the cage so you can use your elbows, you can use your knees, you can branch off, throw a couple flurries, and then close that distance. You do not want Vicente to get comfortable. But again, Vicente is good at weathering the storm, moving, and I see him going there, trying to keep it at distance, and when it gets close, he's going to go for the takedown to get on top. I have Vicente in this fight for a decision.
Great points there. No, totally. I think that Barberina fight is a great one to mention because, he's not beyond getting hit, and that's why it's going to be kind of scary. He's kind of a do-or-die fighter himself.
Yeah.
And that's why this matchup's so dangerous going in that Shark Tank with Mike Perry. And I agree. I don't think it's a thing where, fighters making an excuse for rationalizing a loss or anything. It's nothing against Jackson Wink, but I agree with, Mike Perry where, that whole situation probably didn't help him with the drama. Yeah. And sometimes it doesn't matter how good a camp is. Sometimes you click better at a certain camp, and I think he found that out. That's why he went back to Florida. And, in his performances, it looks like he's fighting better since then. So I'm going to leave room to be surprised, but I'm pick Luque.
That's it. I mean, that's how it goes, man. You have to go where you're comfortable at, and I agree with it. It's a great co-main event to have.
Yep.
And I'm excited for it. Let's go on to the main fight. We're talking about old school meets new school. We're talking about the new day and age of striking in the female division against the old school hard-nosed grappler. We got Valentina Shevchenko versus Liz Carmouche. Man, I'm pretty excited for this bout. Liz Carmouche was supposed to fight Roxy Modafferi here 2 weekends ago, and she ended up getting a phone call. Hey, you're gonna fight for the title. Would you like it? That's like, literally getting a call saying you got a free trip to Disneyland if you're a kid that was fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're just like, what? Your entire pay grade changed. Your entire notoriety changes. She's fought for the belt before.
Yeah.
What better person to come through, and to be honest, out of nowhere. I wasn't ready to see this happen that fast, but out of nowhere, she comes there. She has the background to go there and be able to put on a good show against one of the great strikers in female history. I would have to go with that. Valentina Shevchenko is one of the only people, actually, I should say this, the only person to take Nunes to decision. To withhold that power, to get hit, to eat that punch.
Make Nunes respect her too.
Yeah, that's very true. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have Nunes taking out everyone, stopping them all, but the one person you can't stop, Valentina Shevchenko.
It makes me wonder how those, and then you see what Nunes did to Cyborg, of course, and it makes it all that much more impressive.
Yeah.
And then even before that matchup, Cyborg was training with Shevchenko, and I wonder what those training sessions look like, because I have a feeling that Shevchenko, even though she can fight at 125, obviously that's where this fight's taking place at. I gotta imagine she still holds her own with 145ers. So you obviously can tell just watching a little bit of training and pad work. I'm sure you can pick up on this. And no discredit to the ladies, but especially with the ladies, where when I watch Valentina do pad work with her sister, again, two equally sized, southpaws, and whether they're doing pads, you can just feel it. Where I'm like, I do not. I don't care. Throw all that gender stuff out the window. I don't want to be holding pads for her. Like, you could just hear the thud. She has a certain thud to it. You talked about those striking accolades, and I would argue one of the more accoladed strikers, male or female. Multiple time champions in IMFA, Muay Thai, where she beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk 3 times before she beat her in MMA. K1 accolades. Traditional martial arts accolades, not just Taekwondo black belt second dan. Came out. Her mom runs the Kyrgyzstani Taekwondo and kickboxing association. This girl is born and bred for this. As a southpaw, grading southpaw, she has every weapons I love to see. The ones you can't leave home without. She has the check right hook, the left counter cross, the left kick. But when people try to get that weak angle, she's got spinning back kick, spinning back fists, all chambered to reset. She's got the answers there. So Liz Carmouche, I think she's going to have to do it how she's kind of always done it, using her physical strength and taking this to the ground. It didn't work out in her last title fight that you kind of referenced, the UFC. But if we go all the way back to her first title fight against Marlies Kunin, it's one of my favorite female fights ever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the equivalent for people that haven't seen. It's like the equivalent to Anderson Silva's first fight with Chael Sonnen, where you get this challenger and people weren't giving any credit to Liz Carmouche coming in. And all of a sudden, she starts taking to the champion for 4 rounds. 5 rounds in the Silva Chael, but this one was 4 rounds. She ends up getting caught, in the guard. Only 2 times Liz Carmouche has been submitted in title fights, so it's been a while. Could it happen here? I think it's going to be tough because Carmouche, since then, she's gotten the black belt under the 10th Planet System. She's training with someone I respect a lot, Ali Malay McFarland, shouts to Hawaii, the Bellator flyweight champ. She's got a great high guard game, right?
Yeah.
That's going to help her get ready for those looks, but at the end of the day, she's got to avoid being hurt avoid being hurt from Shevchenko, and that's the hard part for me. I feel like, if she was able to get hit by, no disrespect, by kickboxers like Caitlin Chukagian, were able to rock her on the feet. After watching what Shevchenko did to another person I respect, it's just wow, man, I have a hard time picking against her.
Yeah, it's very difficult, and especially being a little while since Liz Carmouche was fought.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Let's talk about when she fought Ronda Rousey. It was a one-time. Ronda's on this tear, tearing up everybody. They're doing the Uriah Faber comparisons, they're brother sister style. They have the same stylistic fighting, and she takes Ronda Rousey's back within the first minute of the first round. She gets in there and everybody's just like, oh, what's going on? Puts in a rear naked choke. She's cranking on it. Ronda Rousey able to keep composure, able to take her down, and then it started going into Ronda's favor. But that was against a girl that wanted to willing to grapple.
Yeah.
So when you know this, when it comes to wrestler versus striker style deal, you know, we have Valentina Shevchenko, who's no slouch when it comes to the wrestling.
Yeah.
She has good grappling defense. She has great movement laterally, so it's tough to close that distance to be able to do that. But when you know that your opponent's best way to be offensive against you is for the takedown, you know that you have those knees, which she's very ruthless with.
True.
You have those knees that she can put together. Shevchenko will be able to, and she has all the capabilities of stopping that. Push kicks, head kicks, and it's going to make Liz Carmouche a little bit more hesitant. Even though she's been in for a long time, and she's seasoned, and she's been in the title bout again. It's been a while. This is a new day and age for women fighting. I mean, back then you could throw wild punches and close the distance and do this, but as you've seen, when the tide turned when Nunez fought Rousey, you see that, or Holly Holm fought Rousey. Like, you see these high level strikers that are coming in that are doing damage, and it's hard to go against Shevchenko. She's a dominant fighter. She finds the way. She's fast. She's explosive. I mean, we're talking about what she did to Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Joanna is a great striker, and she didn't even strike with her. She striked a little bit. She was winning on that, but then she took her down. It's like, wait a minute. Like, you're supposed to be a striker. She's able to adapt. She's able to overcome. She finds the way to win, and she's going for it. And I love Liz. I think it's amazing that she got the opportunity to come up, but I have Valentina Shevchenko. But let's stop right here real quick. This year, it has been the underdogs that are coming through on the main events, except for John Jones. Obviously, he's the only main event that really is winning, that's supposed to win. And Colby Covington are the two people that come to mind right now that are all the non-main eventers, that are all the favorites.
Yeah, a lot of dogs in the game. It's true, very true. At plus 800, or what I'm seeing in the neighborhood of for Liz Carmouche, it's hard not to just sprinkle on the dog for a favorite that's kind of outpriced. And if you're a gambling person, some minus 1250 or whatever you're seeing Shevchenko as, it's gonna be so tough to get an angle. You're gonna have to parlay, and parlaying's a madman. I know it's not a betting podcast, but just kind of saying from that angle. If you wanted to sprinkle on an underdog, I guess I wouldn't hate it from a value perspective. But yeah, man, it's tough for a lot of the reasons that we kind of stated here, and you stated too. The underrated wrestling. And I think that's what this one comes down to. I think this fight's gonna be won or lost for Liz Carmouche inside that clinch. I think that's gonna give us all the answers we need to know, but the skills that you just cited, I got a side for Shevchenko. I actually picked her to do it inside the distance, which is, I don't think my article's out yet, so you guys are getting my prediction here first on Coffee Talk. It's not out on Junkie yet. But yeah, I'm going to pick Shevchenko inside the distance here, man. I can't, as big as those odds are, I can't take the underdog here.
Yeah, man. I'm with you. And I like how you picked within the distance. It's a perfect pick.
We'll see.
I feel like the cardio is going to be there for Valentina.
Yeah.
And again, most people don't know this. She's Peruvian.
That's right.
Her family's there.
She speaks Spanish too.
She does, very fluent. Her and her sister. So they're able to sit there, and she's going to be no stranger to Uruguay. And there's our picks for UFC 156, ESPN 14, ESPN plus 14.
Sure.
There you have it. Go put your round robins, your parlays. Stick with us. You might win a